Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at the chart for the second full moon in Capricorn. And it's going to be July 21st, 2024, 6:17 a.m., just a little bit before we move into Leo. This was last month too. We had the other Capricorn full moon was as we just on the cusp of the sign too, as we moved into Cancer, and now we're at 29 degrees of Cancer and we're leaving Cancer, and we're having the second eclipse at that point, and it's conjunct Pluto. There's a whole bunch of stuff. So we're going to take a deep dive into it, me and my guides. If you've never watched before, I am an intuitive or psychic astrologer. Well, yes, I've studied astrology and I do understand the mechanics of it. The things you're going to hear here are not anything that's necessarily coming out of a textbook. This is me looking at the chart, feeling into it, getting messages and downloads from my guides, coloring outside the lines for sure, okay? So here we go. Oh, by the way, you're watching the Rock and Roll Prophetess on YouTube, and I'm at vickieverlie.com. Don't be fooled by imposters. All right, let's take a look at this chart as soon as I change glasses here. Yeah, so uber powerful. You know, I was thinking back, I know for sure in 2020, and I think even 2019, we were having eclipses at these Capricorn points. So, you know, we all know what happened in 2020. Now, I'm not suggesting that something like that's going to happen again. I'm suggesting that we kind of look back at that time frame within ourselves, because it was such a blast of energy and everybody was kind of in shock. But below that level of shock and chaos that was going on, you know, there were everyday life things happening, and we were all interacting and going about our lives and doing our thing. But with this high level of stress, it's almost like I feel like we could be getting sort of a do-over in a sense from that time frame, because nobody was operating under normal circumstances, or, you know what I'm saying? So it's like some of these things that were happening in our personal lives, or, you know, maybe some of us, it could be things that, like, we were getting ready to launch some big thing, or I heard somebody was going to go on tour and the tour got canceled. Well, maybe now we're finally getting, you know, it's 4 years later, but there does seem to be this really callback to that. And the 29 degrees, you know, that's a critical degree. It always is a finishing up. It's also talking about, you know, in Pluto, during this time frame too, probably starting around then. I don't have a 2020 ephemeris in front of me, but I know Pluto was in Capricorn in 2020. You know, but when Pluto is getting into these high degrees, and it's been this bouncing back. So there is this, it's like something really powerful is getting harnessed here. Or we're dipping our toe into that water again. It's the way they're showing it to me is like you put your toe in the water before and it was just too much. It was too hot, or it was too much. They show me running the way. But now you tip your toe in the water, and it's like, okay, I can settle into this. I can, because I know it's Earth, but, you know, we are looking at the sun at 29 of Cancer too. So we're still technically, our sun sign is still we're still in water sign season at this moment. So that's the visual I'm getting, you know. And now there's not all this chaos going on in the outside world, and we can kind of wrap our brain around it, kind of feel our body into it, kind of dive into some of the things that may have been going on then, or were about to commence, but got drastically interrupted by world events, right? So now it feels like it's a little bit of I was going to say redo, but my guides are coming through with reboot. So it's almost like a little bit of a reboot. Again, 29, this is my nodes, almost exact. Well, 29, I have 29 degrees Cancer, Capricorn. This is my nodes. So, yeah, it's really powerful for me personally. This Pluto is ushering in this change, though. This is bigger than just, you know, our little lives here. Because Pluto is such a big impactor, such a big transformer, such a big, small but mighty, because I was thinking about the size of it, and my guides came through with small but mighty, because if you look at it with one of those maps of the, you know, the planets, you know, Pluto's just like the size of a pea compared to, like, you know, Jupiter's about the size of a plum or something, you know. So it's small in mass, but mighty, very powerful, very transformative. The other thing that I really like about this is, in this particular chart, now this is the chart for Eastern time, but the part of fortune is in there too. So I just feel like that gives that little extra oomph, that little extra boost to really propel it into something good. You know, because the energy of Aquarius, you know, it's air, it's electric, and it's higher vibration. And sometimes that higher vibrational energy, you can feel not grounded. You feel like, you know, you're just not grounded. It affects your nervous system. You got it. It's good to kind of integrate it slowly, or it can be a shock to the system. They're showing me when my dad died. When my dad died, I was sitting on the couch and I was getting waves of energy, like blankets and blankets. And at first it was kind of cool, like he was like sending me healing vibes, is what I thought at the time. But then it started getting really intense, where it was like, I didn't know what was happening, but it was anxiety. And I had anxiety bad for a little while after that, but it wasn't really as talked about or as recognized, or it was even before the internet. So, nobody really knew. I think I finally did go to a doctor and they said anxiety, whatever the case may be. But that event, that influx of all that higher energy was a little bit too much for my little nervous system to handle, So it can be a shock to the system is what I'm getting at. And Aquarius can do that. And because Aquarius is like lightning bolts. It can be like getting struck by lightning. It can be a lot. It's that intense. It's that powerful. But the way things have been working out here, 2000, it's been ushering it in, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, piercing through the veil into the higher realms up here, not just like shot out there like an arrow and you with your butt hanging out. Like what the heck's going on here, gradual. And then, we go up and then we come back down a little bit, back into Capricorn, and we go up and down and up and down. So there's this, like almost like going a little bit into the deeper water each time. We go in the water, we try a little swimming in these other, because even going into water is like this other world. So we go into this other world in a natural state. There's these creatures live there in this other dimension or realm, So we go a little bit in, and then we feel comfortable, we get a little taste of it, and we swim a little, and a little more, until we're fully immersed. And that's kind of what this whole thing has, this feeling of it. They keep showing me this kind of a motion and a shape, almost like a spirograph or something. But what I was getting to, with the part of fortune in there, I feel like that's just even bringing in more positive energy. I knew this years ago when I was I played live music, and I know that there's a thin line between excitement and nervousness, and every time I felt any nervous, I would just turn that knob the other way and get excited. So that's kind of this energy too. It's this excitement, but it could be nervousness. But with the part of fortune there, I think that really is helping to make it like, oh wow, this is cool, this is fun. And Jupiter was there, but now Mars is there too. Mars is probably not the best. The best thing to maybe throw in the mix at this time. Well, Mars can give you that ambition and drive too, because sometimes we get really excited about things, but then it's just like a matter of actually doing it and getting it done. And Mars can give you that energy to do so. Although Mars in Gemini too, you could just talk it to death and not do anything again. But Mars doesn't have. What's needed now is this balance and grace and patience and this even keel. Like things being on an even keel. Mars can be very erratic. Mars can go running headlong into something without thinking. Especially in Gemini, or you can work yourself up. Well, what did he say this? Get yourself all in, and just do some erratic behavior can result from it. Let's just say it like that. So we're dealing with that, and then we look at Mars being in Gemini, and then we look at Mercury, the ruler, at 26. And the Uranus. It's squaring the Uranus too. Now, Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, right? So there's that tie-in. Get it? For anybody learning astrology out there. And we were talking about Gemini, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So there's all this cross-pollination going on all over the place here. But the Uranian energy too is that same thing, wanting to, go to that higher dimension of the Aquarian realm or the Uranian realm. And I said this before, being in the sign of Taurus at this moment, can bridge that gap, that can bridge that thing. The Leo energy, bringing that in with the Mercury, it just feels there's an element of don't let yourself get carried away, or don't let these influx of these higher dimensional frequencies, take a minute to digest them. You might want to sleep more. You might want to sleep more. Cancer energy, you might want to go crawl in your shell a little bit here. That might be needed, although it's highly not too likely because we got all this Venus, Mercury and stuff in Leo. This is party season. This is party time. This is making the sextile over to the Jupiter. And that's going to, really, let's be talkative, let's be friendly, let's have fun. Party, summer, Northern Hemisphere here, summer parties, barbecues, music festivals, whatever the case, a lot of partying and just good times and celebrating and things like that. They're bringing me back to 2020 again. So, maybe some of these things, maybe some people even I keep getting somebody planned a tour of some sort, but it was canceled. But that could be a number of people. But I'm thinking like music, But it could be, maybe it was a play even, or other things. Or maybe it was some big vacation, or a wedding even. Maybe your wedding got ruined because of 2020, and now you're going to have a ceremony, or whatever, some kind of party or celebration. Or maybe you even put it off and you're going to do it again. There's a big, keep giving me that energy of that do-over kind of a thing from back at that time frame. But when you do it over on a 29, it's like it's done. It's really done. Put a bow on it because it's done, So this would be a good time to wrap things up, whether they relate to 2020 or not. Anything that you're wanting to finish, you're done. Wrap it up. We're done. I did also the Neptune too. I totally skimmed. There's so much stuff here. There's so much stuff. We're talking 29, okay? Right. So we've got the two, the Sun and the Moon, and then we've got the Neptune at 29, making trine and sextile. So there again is bringing in that high spiritual energy. But I talked about this in the last video if you hadn't seen it. They're both of the Uranus and Neptune are coming from these higher realms, but in different ways. Higher, maybe you could say higher realms. But what I would say that they have in common would be more advanced realms. So. Advanced in what way? This could be that whole technology, that, computerized mind stuff going on, more mentally oriented. And this is deeper in the soul, deeper within our own spirit travels and all this kind of, that kind of stuff. So it's deep. It's getting deep out here, everybody. But there was something else I want to say. Oh, there's so much in these high degrees. And then, Pluto's going to be back at 29 here in another month or so. Uranus is at 26. So that whole thing, Mercury's at 26. Even Chiron's getting up there at 23. So there is this thing of we are finishing a cycle for sure. And some of these big dog planets are going to be making some big changes here within the, soon. Pluto's going to be this year, or the beginning of next, end of this year. Then we're going to have Neptune, I think, next year, and then Uranus is right behind it. And these are planets that spend a long time. Pluto's going to be, I don't know how long, it was in Capricorn since 2008, and it's 2024 now, and then it's going to be in there for another, until 2044, 20 years it takes it to get through a sign. So it's coming and going. It's a big deal. And then Neptune's not quite that long, but it's a long time too. I think it's 15 years or something, and I'm not sure about Uranus either. I'm guessing ballpark 8 or 9. I mean, this is stuff you could look up if you're interested, but none of these are slow-moving things. These are big things. These are big shifts in energy that are happening right now. And I love a lot of the things that are captured, in the chart. I love that part of fortune for some reason. That's just really grabbing me. That just feels like it's just that extra something, that thing that's going to make it can if you're on the tipping point, you know, like they're showing me like a teeter-totter or something. So you're on a tipping point. Oh, well, it's going to be bad, boo-hoo-hoo, and what about this, and what about this, and what, I'm getting your mind crazy. Or, you know, or if you don't want to be a Pollyanna and just be like, oh, yeah, nothing's wrong, everything's cool. You know, you get in that sweet spot, like a teeter-totter. And you get in that sweet spot, and you walk through balanced, through the transition. Because it feels like what they're showing me, if you're skewed, they're showing me it like being a doorway, really, you know. So there's this doorway, and you're wanting to walk through it, you know. And are you going to walk through, you want to walk through shoulders square, you know, like this. Not shoulders, you know, kind of wonky like this, you know, or the other way. You know, get in that balance zone, you know, too much of anything. Because whatever imprint that you're carrying at that moment, at this moment, is what's going to follow you through, or what's going to be that imprint for the upcoming, you know, this like those Ingress, as I say, you know, the upcoming season, but this is the upcoming, I don't know what you want to call it, paradigm, you know, it's big stuff, you know, the upcoming decade at least, you know, the upcoming next decade. So let's try to stay in balance. Let's stay grounded. Let's stay in balance. Let's be open and accepting of what these higher forces are trying to show us and gift us with, because there's a lot of gifts here. That's another thing when these big planets make these big changes. There's gifts. But sometimes they're not the gift that you want, and it's not material. Many times it's not material necessarily. Many times it's knowledge, it's experience, it's life lessons. But it's getting the life lessons. Because yeah, people are learning their life lessons, but you're not meant to learn a life lesson, you know, over and over and over and over. And then over and over and over and over in many lifetimes. This is the time with the Uranian energy. It's the breaker of chains, the karmic chains, karmic bonds. We're breaking free of the old paradigm, and we're not going to keep, you know, rattling around that same thing. We're not going to keep bowing to power outside of ourselves that talks us out of being our true soul essence and who we really are. So many people get talked out of their, you know, that was pretty much what schools were in the business of doing, right? At least when I was growing up, you know. I mean, not all, but a lot of them, you know, as a society, America, you know, go to school, be like everybody else, you know. Don't let your light shine, fit in, you know, just you go there and you do this, or you get a job, or you go in the service, or you go to college and then you get a job. Bang, bang, boom. Then you get married, you start having a family. Then that was it. It was all mapped out. And so many people, because Uranus in Aquarius, this is letting your freak flag fly big time. In the best possible way, though. You know, everybody didn't come here to be the same. That was not our incarnational plan. Nobody had that plan. I guarantee that. From all the past life, the soul readings that I've done, nobody had a plan to just come here. And I mean, sometimes you have a plan on those readings, like where, yeah, you're just going to have sort of an easy life and take it easy for, you know, this incarnation. But everybody has something unique and special. Everybody is a part of a spectrum of the light. You know, everybody is that spark, that what they're supposed to do. And, you know, we all go off our paths. That's just the human condition. But it's certainly not like we'll just fall in line and be like everybody else, you know. That's where it manifests all kinds of negative stuff. So there's a reset. There's an energetic reset. There's a portal to, you know, divine consciousness kind of stuff. I mean, that's what the stuff my guides are coming through with. You know, it's big, it's intense. And, you know, this is the moment to get a hold of yourself. Don't freak out, but also, you know, be cool, chill out, keep it together, walk through that portal, walk through that door, into the next, you know, whatever of reality, of being. It's pretty intense. So I was thinking, what was I did a whole video, that's right, I did a whole video on Pluto and Aquarius, if you want to go back and listen to it. Looking back in history. I mean, it's still relevant. If you haven't seen it, you can check it out. I'll try to remember to put a clip at the end. Link. Well, what else do we have here? That was so inspiring. That was straight guide stuff there, man. All right, let's see. You know what keeps grabbing me here is Miss Lilith at 13 degrees squaring with Ceres. What's she doing here? She's doing the thing with the over here. In conjunct or semi-sextile. I know one of these days I'll have that memorized. Squaring Jupiter. And loose square to Saturn. Yeah, so we've got a grand cross in the mutables here. Let's look at this a little closer. Ceres, Jupiter, Saturn, Lilith. Yep. So grand cross in the mutables. The strongest thing here is the Saturn-Lilith opposition. That's the thing that gets me the strongest. Because it is like the iconic, you know, the male patriarch over here in Saturn, and then Lilith, the independent woman who's not going to put up with Saturn's stuff. But even that is old paradigm, you know, even that, or Lilith and Virgo, the woman who can do it all. You know, she can do everything. She can bring home the bacon, right up in a pan. Remember that one? That was an old commercial on TV, I think. But anyways, that just popped in. But we were looking at this. Come here. Come back here. All right, let's see. Yeah. Finding new ways of that. That's definitely part of the Age of Aquarius and this whole deal over here, you know, where it's not about any gender roles. And that's a big part of a lot of these younger people. I know people get freaked out about it, but they're coming from higher dimension, and there's many people want to do, you love Star Trek and Star Wars and all that stuff. There's many, what my guys have shown me is there's many where there's no gender. Many of the higher dimensional beings, there's no gender necessarily. So that's something that we are so fixated on. And it's not just, you know, I'm not saying one way or the other, but I can see that that's part of, you want to meet with higher dimensional people? Well, guess what? They don't have gender. A lot of them don't. And a lot of them aren't even, you know, humanoid. They're plant-like even, and there's all kinds of different stuff. So if people we're waiting for when's the aliens coming, when are we going to meet the aliens? Well, we can't even get past people who, you know, are fluid, gender fluid. So that's, you know, if I were them too, I don't know if I'd be so open to, you know, hanging out. But anyways, back to this. So it is this time, there is this time of awakening, there is this time of, it's great healing also too. We're not meant to carry this 29 here, we're supposed to heal it. Cancer, heal it. Nurture yourself. We're not supposed to carry this stuff into the new, the next, well, even you can look at it as generations with Capricorn energy for sure. You know, that's well, this whole thing, 4th and 10th house, you know, that's your mother and your father. Those are your Saturn is your line, your family line. So we're not meant to carry this. And Saturn, if you're not following too what I was saying, yeah, we're talking about Saturn and that, but Saturn is also the ruler of Capricorn. Okay, that's why I'm bringing it up so much too, because and the ruler of this full moon, because this Saturn going to 29 Capricorn and then Pluto moving back to 29 Capricorn, that's all Saturnian energy. You know, that's why I'm bringing Saturn into the mix if you're not following that. So that Saturn, you know, we're not meant to bring that. That had its place. There was a time and a place for that, and that time and place is passing. And we're opening up to new paradigm. I saw a great meme, and it turned. I didn't think it was controversial. I just thought it was funny but true. There was this girl. What she say? Something like, AI wants to do all my writing and painting. I'd rather, and I do the dishes and the laundry. She says, I'd rather have AI that can do the dishes and laundry, so I have more time to do my writing and painting. I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, like, you know, we watched the Jetsons when we were young, and even if you're not my age, you watch reruns of it, I'm sure. You know, you're thinking, oh yeah, we're going to have Rosie the robot doing all the housework and everything, and it's not the case. Why don't we use AI for more geared towards to make life, to do more of life drudgery stuff, so we can, you know, be the creative ones? But it is all that, you know, this is all part of it, and there's positive and negative expressions of all of it, you know. So we're in this time of this new paradigm, and we're feeling our way through it, and it's wide open. Uranus, Aquarius, it's wide open. It's, you know, it's unconfined. It can't be confined, you know. It's, what was I hearing? What was that from? Here's what I'm hearing. They're telling me it's totally tubular. I don't even remember what that's from. It's some old expression from back in the day, though. Might have been Bill and Ted, totally tubular. Hey, well, Bill and Ted were time travelers. You know, they were pretty cool. You know, that also was way out there. Bill and Ted's adventures would totally be Uranian. All day long it would be. And Saturn going back into the history of, you know, finding all those historical figures and doing all that stuff. And then be excellent to each other, right? Uranus, that's it, right there in a nutshell. Okay, reading done. Uranus, be excellent to each other. Yeah, well, we are about done. I mean, we could talk for hours. There's just so much going on, but those are the points that my guides were grabbing me to pull in and talk about today. Hey, if you like my style of reading, I don't have any transit readings available right now, but I do a soul reading. If you want me to dive in and look at some of your past lives, I do it through the chart, and they show me stuff, and you know, it's pretty cool. A lot of people like it, and I have other types of readings too available on my I was going to say on my chart, but on my website, again, vickieverlie.com. Don't be fooled by imposters. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up, or throw emoji or something in the comments, because there's been a lot of trolls lately. So your positive interaction with the video and with my channel only helps combat that through the algorithm, and I appreciate that so much. If you like, I do also a weekly reading on Patreon, weekly little astrology rundown and a couple cards for each sign. You can find out more about that also in the link below or at my website. Have a great full, this is intense, man, an intense full moon in 29 degrees Capricorn, and be excellent to each other. Till next time, bye.